If he joins, he joins.
What is the topic of conversation?
Election, baby.
I feel like I need more snacks for this.
We are live.
Oh.
Well, get snacks. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I can survive with Cheez-Its.
I feel like you can get snacks. I feel like most people are going to be tuned into the actual election. This is one that we're going to have to post.
That's fine. I can survive with my Cheez-Its because I just ate 2 things of string cheese too. So
string cheese. Yeah, see, that's what I was doing. When I was a little bit late, I was looking for snacks. And I don't have any in my house.
Oh, God. Okay.
I need somebody to go snack shopping.
You go snack shopping.
why don't you just Instacart it?
Okay.
What? No, that's too bougie. Also, what is Instacart?
They go grocery shopping for you and drop your groceries off at your door.
Oh, I don't like it.
So I'm pretty sure we're live.
Yes, we are.
You know.
Who's going to kick us off?
All right. Welcome to another episode of Brandbeats. Today's topic is, it's quite obvious. It's the election. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. It's been going on since Tuesday. So we're just going to talk about how we're feeling, what we're thinking. What do we think is going to happen once Joe Biden wins? So whoever wants to dive in, please feel free. The water is warm.
Go for it. I'm gonna post this Brandbeats on.
Yeah, Erwin, I feel like you haven't been here for a while. You should just go ahead and just kick us off. Keep going.
That was a kickoff. If that wasn't a
No.
if that wasn't a kickoff, I don't know what is. I mean, honestly,
how are you feeling?
The day of the election, I was watching it. I had drinks. I was one, hoping it would be done, knowing that there would be extra days to count, obviously. But I was just I was shocked that it was even that close. And then I went to bed with a lot of anxiety and honestly fear, because prior to that, I listened to a lot of right-wing podcasts. One, because I want to balance my perspectives and make sure that I just want to understand what's going on. And so I listened to Dan Bongino, who's extreme, and Dan Bongino, up until the election, weeks prior, he's basically saying everybody needs to learn how to defend themselves, and the liberals are coming for you. They're coming to your door. They're coming to your doorstep to threaten your way of life, and you can't shrink back. That's something that you can't do. You have to step up and step forward. Then he'll have an ad for guns. He'll just roll that into an ad for guns. He's come on down to your local gun shop, get some guns. I'm just dude, this is scary. And then I think that paired with everything we've seen over the past couple of days from from Trump and Trump in the office that he has and his supporters in office, it's it stirs up those individuals to say that the election is rigged, to say that the election is not real or it's not right. All of those things are scary. I do believe that Joe Biden is going to win, but I feel just like terrorism, you can't necessarily kill terrorism by getting rid of one person or kicking them out of wherever they reside. It's something deeper rooted. And I think he stirred that up. And just because he's out doesn't mean the work is going to be done. And I mean, everybody kind of knows that. And we see that all on Instagram and all of the other platforms. It's this is just one step. Voting was a part of the democratic process, but it's not the only piece that needs to happen. Post-voting, we need to make sure that we're continuously engaged in politics and in our local level politics, also just engaged in holding people accountable. So yeah, that was my thought. But like the first night, I like woke up in the middle of the night and I thought I heard like somebody yell like, "Hey boy!" And I think it was just like honestly just trauma from just like me listening to all this other shit and watching YouTube videos on like people. There's like some people in like the backwoods of the South who were like gathering guns for the past couple of years and like they have off-road vehicles and the dude was like, "Yeah, my favorite movie is Mad Max. Love it." I'm just like, those are the people that are like riding for Trump, like they're ride or die for Trump, right? So I feel like just like all of those thoughts were seeping into my like subconscious when I went to sleep the first night, and I woke up in a panic just thinking I heard that. Because every time I heard like a bus, I would think it was like a Trump truck. And if people don't know what it is, it's just people who drive. Not everybody who has an F-150 or like a Ford truck or a GMC truck is a Trump supporter, but when they have the flag and they have like the stickers on it, then you're like, and it's very obvious, and they all have like the like engines. So I just kept hearing that and I was like scared. And they've been driving around all around San Diego.
I think for years we've known in the last 4 years, we've known what this nation was becoming under him. And especially over the last few months, we definitely saw like the blatant division that was happening. I think what was the most, not eye-opening necessarily, but the most hurtful to me was to know that 68 million Americans feel this way. Like they ride for him. They feel like he is justified in some capacity with the hate and division that he spews. They are okay putting the well-being of fellow man before like themselves. Like they're just I don't want to call like, I don't know, like I just feel like, it just makes me look at people a lot differently. It makes me look at this nation a lot differently. And I think it's what was also very eye-opening to me is like, okay, well, what's the road back to some type of closeness? Is there a road back to some type of unity in this nation, or has one man made it fundamentally okay for this nation to get further and further and further apart? And Erwin, I didn't have those anxieties the first night, but I think last night I started to have those anxieties. Like Eric and I were talking about it before we went live. Like last night I was up every couple of minutes, every couple of hours, like checking my phone, like waiting to see like, is Southern Georgia going to flip? And it made my heart so happy to see that we could flip not only Georgia, but Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan. And I don't know why they just won't call it Arizona. So I guess that gave me a little bit of hope that we could be headed back in the right direction, but I have no idea. I just think right now I'm just at a loss to process what's going on, and until they actually call things, like I'm just going to kind of stand on pins and needles.
I do think that that's also been like the biggest shocker for me. One, like having conversations with like people who are first generation here in America, and like the conversations they are having with their parents. And the fact that their parents are people of color, but their parents sometimes are voting for Trump and like are staunch supporters of Trump, not even necessarily knowing like why, but there's been a lot of interesting discussion around, or I've watched a couple of videos and like talked to a couple of people about why that support is there. And it's, sometimes it was like, because where they're from, the leader was a lot worse. So therefore, they haven't necessarily experienced any direct racism, mainly because the communities that they live in are pretty insular. So they're typically around people that are of the same like makeup, and they go to places that are very like built by that same community. And so for those individuals, they don't necessarily experience any direct racism or any direct like hatred. And so for them, Trump is not necessarily all that bad, especially when he keeps saying like, hey, we're gonna fix your taxes, we're gonna be good. Like he just says stuff that doesn't necessarily happen. But if he's just saying good things and you don't necessarily see a major shift in your income or your pay, then it's like he's not necessarily the most terrible for some people, right? And I only said it to say, like, I think there's some people who aren't, they condone the racist remarks, but they're not the racist. Not saying that it's still not a problem, but that was like eye opening to me, because they're like, it's a way different perspective to have when you're just like, they come from something a lot worse. So for them, they're like, why are you complaining? This dude, we're all right. And then Joe Biden, when they paint him as a socialist, then that's scary, because maybe that's what they came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, for them, the lesser of two evils is what they know.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What is it? The devil that you know is not as scary as
Mm-hmm.
what you don't know. But they're both old.
It's just interesting to me because, to everyone's point, like, yeah, 70 million voted for Trump. And, even then, to everyone's point as well, like, he's increased support amongst people of color. And to me, after 4 years of like all that bullshit, after he fucking fumbled the whole COVID thing, like, people were still willing to support him in droves. And I'm like, damn. And he objectively had a way better campaign his first time around. So I'm just like, what are the reasons? Like, I don't understand, And at the same time, I'm like, okay, so we get Joe Biden as president, he gets sworn in, and then 4 years down the line, but we have an even worse version of Trump, like someone that is a lot slicker, someone that is probably like more nefarious and like is better at hiding his bullshit, So that's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, so
like,
Pence?
Exactly, someone like Pence. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
mean,
guess we have to say this next 4 years go.
Yeah, I think that's the scary part. But I also feel like these things needed to come to bear, or needed to come to light.
Yeah.
In order for us to try and actually fight them. And,
it's true.
In some way, like, I feel like we were all asleep for a while.
Yeah.
And I think if Trump wasn't there, then we still would be asleep to politics, as well as like to all of the racism that actually does exist on a day-to-day basis. I think it would have just kind of continued to be hidden.
And that was my point of view too.
You would have had some Black people calling it out and saying stuff, but then we still would have had people being like, well, all of that's conspiracy theory and it's not really. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the talk we had this morning with the Webbies, it's like, because of COVID, because of Trump, because of these things, it's sped up this process of reckoning, where you're actually having to like look at what's happening within society and like be more aware and be more like on point and actually knowledgeable of what's going on outside of just your own little like bubble, because it's touched all of us now. So I would hope that because we're awake, we won't go back to sleep once Biden is there. That's why I hope like the momentum continues. Mm-hmm. Like I hope the BLM protests don't stop, right? Because Biden is there, because racism is not dead and inequality is not dead. I hope all of these things continue, and not only continue, but like get stronger, without maybe just like, he doesn't come down as hard on them with all of the violence and police violence. Like, let the protests happen, let them have the conversation, and let's like continue to push forward change. That'll be my hope for like after the election. Like, no matter who wins, Biden's gonna win. The work would not stop.
I would agree with that. I think that when it comes to specifically like the Black community, this is the first time that we've actually been invested into like learning a little bit about politics. The last 4 elections, we just knew to vote for Obama. Like, we didn't really know what propositions meant, who we were voting for like local and state. Like, we just went in to like circle a bubble to say like Obama's going to fix all of our problems. And as we say, like, that didn't happen. And so when it came to like this whole Trump election, I think people are now being a little bit more awakened, but it's almost like they're investing their energies into the wrong thing. And that's my own perspective, where it's like, you guys are putting all of your faith into who's becoming president versus still like figuring out what's happening in your community, what's happening within your state, local stuff. Like, what are you going to do when Biden becomes president? And if he doesn't do anything for you, me personally, I haven't heard anything yet from either of these guys saying like what they're going to do to help me progress as an individual, as a Black American. So it's like, what are you going to take on and continue fighting for and holding them accountable of doing? That's where I'm just like, we're putting so much energy, so many eggs in one basket. I think either way, our country is going to be okay, whether it is Trump or Biden. I think we are a little socially aware, a little bit more conscious about like what we're doing as individuals and what we want. But with this whole George Floyd thing, I think it awoke like togetherness. But what I don't like that I've been seeing within politics is how the divide of being a Democrat and Republican is coming in between us staying together and building together. I think the internet and social media is killing that, because all I've ever seen was like a lot of, you know, Democrats attacking people who are voting for Trump instead of asking like, well, why do you feel this way?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or let's have a discussion about it. They're just like, I'm writing you off if you vote for Trump. You're this, you're that, you believe in this, you believe in that. And it's like, all right, but if you don't believe in Biden, then why are you against someone voting for Trump? Like, I think that this whole election thing is putting a greater divide against us, because I'm not surprised that people voted for Trump. I don't think that, like, I mean, I get it, it sucks, but I'm not surprised that there's people out there that is doing that. But it's like, how do we progress once this is all over? And that's more so like where I'm concerned at, because I'm like, none of what we want will happen just waiting for them to make moves, for them to make an impact. We have to do that. So I feel like we're hitting like the ceiling where it's like, okay, cool. We all fought for Biden to get here. Now, how are we going to continue to bust through the ceiling and get the shit that we want?
Yeah. I mean, oh, go ahead. No, sorry.
I feel like watching, we all already know like the polls were extremely wrong this time around. But some of the stuff that I did look at is like they were polling people, asking them why they voted for either candidate. And a lot of people simply voted for the opposite candidate because they just hated the other candidate more. But I will say this about Joe Biden. He's a career politician who is known for actually trying to work across the aisle. And I really hope that he does actually try and work across the aisle. That way we can actually see, is this going to be a president who can do something for us? Because to JoJo's point, yeah, like a single man in office is not going to do anything for us on a personal level. Like the change that they can enact is going to take a really, really long time. So, I mean, like me doing my ballot this year, it took me 6 hours to do my ballot because I was trying to seriously read and research and understand all of the propositions and all of the measures that were going in. And I wanted to make sure that I was as knowledgeable as I possibly was, because 9 out of 10 times, like in any other election, I wouldn't have bubbled in any proposition or ballot or measure because I wouldn't have paid attention. But now I'm just like, okay, for example, the proposition that basically changes bail to a honor system. Me and my husband were greatly divided on that. And I will openly say I'm against that proposition because I don't trust an algorithm to say that this person can get out of jail. An algorithm is made by a human. A human can make that algorithm incredibly biased. Yes. And I just think it's a trap to keep Black people in jail. My husband feels very different. He thinks that AI would actually do a better job than humans. I don't think so. And so that's the stuff I want to pay attention to. Are more Black people in my community going to stay locked up in a jail cell because an algorithm said that person's a flight risk, whereas this person who did the exact same thing because they come from a 2-parent household who makes this much money and they went to college and whatever, they can get out. So like that's the kind of stuff that I know I can make a difference in.
Yeah, I felt the same thing about that. Now we're talking about this specific thing. Like that one was like frustrating because I was like,
I was on fence with that too.
both suck. Like people who don't have money are then forced or coerced to stay in prison, or because they have to take plea deals and all of that stuff. But then algorithms aren't any better because it's based on historic information, which is going to be based on the fact that these individuals couldn't pay, so they had to take plea deals. So it looks like these individuals from this community are more likely to flee or flight risk or commit crimes again because they were coerced in the past. So therefore, all of the data that goes in is going to be biased. And yeah, that one was poop. But I agree. Like paying attention to these things are affecting on the local level. That's what becomes hyper important. And even like if that doesn't make sense, how do we then try and shift it or change it again? How do we try and push forward a better solution and come up with a better solution?
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest, everyone's right. Like the president is kind of just a glorified figurehead. They kind of just like rubber stamp policies. They run on certain policies. They have a platform and campaign, but if you think about it, it's like you can't really get anything passed without the House or the Senate. So, and knowing that the Senate's going to be majority Republican, I believe, like it's going to be tough as fuck to get anything passed. So, it does start at like the local level, and everyone's saying, down ballot races so important, getting involved locally so important. So,
yeah,
totally agree.
I would say that even though he's the president is nothing more than a figurehead, I think we see what can happen when the president is flippant with words and not necessarily considered. Yeah. And it's not like a politician. Like I think the thing that a politician has, which is like, even if they don't necessarily tell 100% of the truth, they're able to balance and play this game where they're not stirring up one side or another too much.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like the one good thing about having Trump not in the presidency is there won't be this powerful individual to stir up hateful individuals.
100%. Yeah. I mean, definitely Joe Biden is like way less polarizing, way more diplomatic. But again, though, like it is about one man in office, one person in office, like can't change, all the shit that's going on. So
I know this is like it's a First Amendment right thing, but I wonder if there will become harsher rules around Twitter. Like I know Donald Trump refused to use the POTUS Twitter account. So someone else tweets on that account for him. And I wonder if there will be harsher rules on that alone, because that man tweets up a storm, and I feel like that, like his Twitter rhetoric is half of the problem. And it wasn't until recently, like, Twitter and Facebook actually started being like, okay, well, this content's a little iffy. We got to put a flag on this, but like they won't actually take it down. I've been very curious. I mean, I don't see Joe Biden being a super tweeter, but I wonder if that's going to be taken into account for people who come into the office, and if we get younger people in office, because all he does is tweet and then retweet super false claims, and it's exhausting. That's why I was like, Obama was right. Like you won't have to wake up the next morning like wondering like, what did he tweet? What did he say? It's just, at first it's like kind of comical. Like you watch it kind of go down, and then you're like, there are people who eat up every single word that you say. So I just wonder if that will be more monitored, like rules will be put around that, or if people just say it's a First Amendment right, he can say what he wants.
I think social media is just the root to a lot of evil. And I think people use it as a way to justify what they're doing, because it's either to get attention, to sway people's point of view. Like it does suck because it's like, I hate the term like fake news, but a lot of it is. I feel like a lot of times people like chop and screw and like take certain statements that people say and like make that the headline. Like we're not readers anymore. That's what sucks about our generation and generation to come. Like we don't actually like see an article. We read the headline of an article and we just think that we know everything that's in the content. So it's like, I have friends who actually like keep the White House, presentation thing on Facebook all day and just listen to people talk. I don't have time for that. But I think moving forward, if we are going to start taking things to heart when it comes to politics, then we need to be more involved with like actually like listening to the statements coming out of these people's mouths versus taking like what media is saying or like what Instagram is saying about something and like just taking it and like rolling with it ourselves. That's why I'm personally not like constantly refreshing Instagram all day, because like the memes are cute, the memes are funny, you know what I mean? Like I think that's what's like keeping this whole thing a little bit lighthearted. But like all the other stuff, it's like the constant updates and people are getting shit wrong because they want to be the first. Like it's overwhelming, you know?
I will say the content for this has been fire though. Like it's been giving me a little peace of mind.
Did everyone see that meme of like, this is Nevada counting ballots, and it's like that Brian McKnight song, Back at One?
Yeah.
So good.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like memes are the political comics of this generation.
Oh.
I mean, it's like that's literally what it is. It's that's why to me like SNL is like hard to watch now because it feels so old by the time I watch it, because I've basically gotten all the jokes about whatever's happening in the moment from memes. The only one that was good that I didn't see any memes about was that black woman sitting behind Trump in the debate. Did y'all not see that?
No.
Oh.
No.
She was like in frame behind Trump during the debate or during his like town hall, and she was like. It was like she was supporting everything. And like when I was watching it, I was like, yo, someone paid her.
Oh, they do that all the time, right?
Like to be right there in that moment, like how much did you get paid to be that excited about everything this man is saying?
Did you hear when he called Little Pump Little Pimp?
Also, that is the weirdest endorsement. Like, who's going to be swayed by Lil Pump's endorsement?
Well,
I wonder.
It was like 50 Cent, it was Lil Pump, it was
Lil Wayne,
Yeezy, or not, well, yeah, Kanye West at one point, but it was Lil Wayne. So yeah, I mean, it was the weird. They were all weird endorsements. But
can we talk about 50 Cent though?
I think that shows you like the disconnect in what happens within, particularly like the Black community. Once you make some money, you're like,
they want to keep their money.
I don't necessarily know if I have to like fight that same fight anymore. It's the Candace Owens effect. Like you grow out of being Black, or the what the fuck was that dude's name? See, I don't even think about it. I mean, O.J. Simpson effect. He was too big to be Black anymore. He was just OJ.
But can we talk about 50 Cent for a second? Because he came out, endorsed Trump real quick. Chelsea Handler was just like, dude, you're Black. I'll pay your taxes for you. Like, calm down. And then he flipped back really quick. And then he was clowning on Trump right after he flipped back. So I'm like, okay, like you can't, if you're going to endorse and then flip back, then don't clown this man, because you were very ready to jump on his bandwagon until your ex-girlfriend was just like, do you know who you are?
Ex-girlfriend?
Chelsea Handler. Yeah, they did.
Chelsea Handler. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, okay, first of all, 50 Cent has no loyalty to nobody. So, like,
you right. My bad.
No loyalty.
So I mean, that is true. He started his career off trolling.
This is very true.
That's who he is.
And ended Tierra Marie's career.
Mm-hmm. And that's but I still feel like that's a larger symptom of some people within the community.
Yeah.
Or within the POC community, where it's you basically get some money, you kind of forget.
Well, that's the thing too.
It's the beauty of the people, in that we do have so many individuals who do like make something of themselves and then they want to give back so much, right? But then you have these individuals like people who are just concerned about their taxes, not realizing the larger impact or larger effect that it's going to have on society and people that are adjacent to them.
Did y'all hear about like the Ice Cube thing that happened like 2 weeks ago?
Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Because this really makes me upset.
Just like, I want to talk to somebody.
Yeah, it wasn't an endorsement or anything.
It was not an endorsement.
Yeah.
I don't know what
This is
happened.
what I'm saying. This is why, like, I'm so frustrated with our community. Like, it really bothers me that, like, this Ice Cube literally said, "Hey, I want to advance the Black community. I want to create more
Yeah.
jobs, resources, finances. The Black people need reparations, and if not reparations, give us something." So he went to the Democrats and the Republicans, like, "Hey, this is my idea."
Mhm.
And the Democrats was like, okay, maybe after we get in, get into the White House, we can discuss it. And the Republican was like, let's talk about it now. How can we kind of warp this into what our plans are and stuff like that? So he was like, I spoke to whoever. I didn't care who it was, but whoever was willing to
Yeah.
listen to me, that's who I spoke to. But the Black people were like, oh, you're a traitor. Oh, you're a Trump supporter. Oh, all this. And he's like, no, I want to get ahead in life. I want my people to get ahead of life. I will talk to who will ever fucking listen. And they just completely shat on him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what is y'all's problem? Like, what? This is why we can't do nothing for each other. This is why we can't have nothing nice. I mean, I completely agree. If Trump was to get elected again, like, get something out of it. You don't want nothing out of it?
Mhm.
I was really upset about that whole thing. It sucked.
Yeah. Because like people didn't let him explain.
No. Even when
Because
he was
like
being
when he
interviewed, they're
did have
like,
some
so you're
interviews,
endorsing
when he
it.
had interviews, he basically was like, you guys are framing it where you want. I'm not endorsing anybody.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm just saying I just want to talk to somebody, and whoever has power, let's talk.
Yeah. What?
I mean, that's like that's a conversation too. Is like, as voters of color, people assume that, oh, you're a voter of color, you must lean one way or the other. But our votes have to be earned. Like, if you want me to vote for you, tell me how the fuck you're gonna help me. Like, what are you gonna do for my community? What are the exact policies that you're gonna, like? I don't know. I think there's definitely a nuanced conversation there that has to be had.
That's what
Did
he
you
was
guys?
saying. He said, Black people, stop throwing away your fucking votes.
Yes.
Demand
Yeah.
something out of it. If you're going to vote for these motherfuckers, tell them what you want and what you're demanding from them. And we're all like, oh, it's okay. Like, just as long as Trump's out, things cool. We'll sit back and just let you run for another 4 years. No, demand some shit.
Mhm.
I don't know why I did find it very interesting, and maybe you guys did not find this interesting, but I found it very interesting though to find out that 18% of Black males voted for Trump. That was shocking to me. That seems like a high percentage. I don't know why I dropped that nugget there, but I mean, if we're talking about getting something out of it, Trump loves to tout that he is better than Lincoln and has done more for Black people than anybody, but he has not shown what he's done for Black people at all. So I guess that number to me was very high when there has been absolutely nothing done to progress the Black community by Trump.
Trump has gained supporters in every demographic. I'm actually like looking at this thing. The white women's went up, black men, Black women, Latino men, Latino women, and others. Like, his support this year went up higher than all of them. And again, I think, Eric, to what you're saying is like choosing the lesser of the evils. People don't trust Biden enough to be like, I'm going to put all my eggs in your basket, when he really didn't even say anything in the beginning besides, I'm going to get Trump out.
Yeah.
So I think and I kind of understand, I'm not saying I completely understand, but I kind of understand that logic. No, Trump hasn't done anything for me or anything for my community or BIPOC community in total. But like, I think people are just like, oh, he gave us a stimulus package. Oh, he like gave new business owners, $10K and things like that. I think people are like jumping on the potential of money that he can provide us. But then I'm saying, provide that for your fucking self. Like, you don't need him, because all he is really doing is riling up these white supremacists to think that it's okay to keep this divide.
And can we talk about that too? Like, I feel like that's a very, that's a huge rabbit hole we could go down, but like how it's every 4 years, a fucking lesser of two evils conversation. I think probably since Obama, that was like one of the only candidates like in recent memory where pretty much everyone got behind him. Everyone was super excited about him. But other than that, it's always like, all right, two white dudes that have done some vile shit. Like, and who's done less vile shit. That's always a conversation. So I wonder, when is it going to come to a point where we have a candidate we can really, really be excited about, and really, that represents all of our interests? Or is that even possible? It just, I don't know.
What
Might
do
be
you
pie in
mean
the sky.
all of our interests? I don't think anybody can ever represent all of America's interests.
True.
America,
Well, I guess not all of our interests,
the,
but
challenge with the challenge with democracy, or the challenge with America and democracy, is that we have so many different points of view.
yeah,
We're not homogenous. We all have vastly different perspectives on what will make the world great again. And
It just
I feel like it'll be very hard to have a unified message and a unified front, especially right now.
mm-hmm.
Because if you talk about you're going to help Black people do this, this, and this, then you'll have all of the other people that don't want that.
True.
On the other end. So I don't think there'll be a unified. I think it would always be a lesser of two evils. It shouldn't be. Yeah, I think it would always be.
Do you
I'm
think
just tired
it'll
of
get?
this two-party system.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I would say, do you think it'll get better as, trying to be strategic in my wording here, as the older generation kind of starts to die off and a younger, more progressive generation gets in office?
What was the less strategic way of saying that?
When these, I'm trying not to throw people's age in there, but once this older demographic makes their way out of Congress and office, and we have a much more progressive and young
totally.
Talent pool, I guess, to look at, do you think that then it will get better? We'll start to see ideologies on both sides where we're it'll actually make us think, and we'll stop thinking about the lesser of two evils, and we'll actually start thinking about policies. Because I just still think that is also a big factor in all of this right now.
Well, yeah, I do think that, because I think in general, if we look at the foundation of this country, over time, as those generations do die out, then the more progressive generation basically take over. There's still racism, there's still those things, but it's less than the previous generation. So I definitely think that will happen, for sure. I don't know if it's going to be our children's children or children's children's children, but I think it will happen at some point when they all take over. Yeah.
Because we were having a discussion the other day, I know I have a couple of friends who hope that AOC is going to run here in a couple of years. And I sadly and wholeheartedly say, though, I don't think America is ready for an AOC. I think she's wonderful. I think she's great. I think she's fierce. I think she has this tenacity and the moral compass to potentially run our country.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, she leans very heavily, in my opinion, towards socialism. And I just don't think that our country is ready for that. And is going to be ready for that for a very long time. Is she too early for what we need?
Oh yeah, I think so. Because I think socialism, there was something that was talking about how it means something different. Socialism for the older generation means something that was we fought against.
Yeah, Stalin.
For the younger generation means oh, that sounds dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mean healthcare for everybody? What?
I think it's just the word socialism that scares people, because there's always been this historical association with it. We think of dictatorships, communist dictatorships, all that shit. But if you think about it,
also,
socialism is just
Did we think Bernie Sanders was going to be a dictator?
a lot of people thought that, actually. I don't know why, but people were oh, he's going to execute people in town squares and shit. I'm
it was
Bernie?
Killer Mike was going to be his hitman. He was going to be his
oh my god.
What did they? So I think but they're playing on the fact that these individuals know that it was something we fought against, whereas the younger generation, I don't necessarily think has that same context for it. So yeah, I do think as
what's Melon doing?
He was standing on his hind legs looking at me.
I think it's just the way we frame it.
Will I think it will get in general. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just how we frame it, right? It's like we call it socialism. Can we just call it like social democracy or something? Something like a little more palatable. I don't know, but to me, it's just the words we use that are like trigger words that set people off. You know?
All the movements need a branding thing.
Yeah, they should just hire Basic to brand their political movements.
Everything.
You know what I kept thinking about through this election? I was like, what happened to the energy that Diddy had with Vote or Die? Like, where was that energy?
That was still there.
Diddy was doing Vote or Die?
Yeah, he did a whole campaign. Do you not follow Revolt Media?
No. He did it this election. He did Vote or Die this election.
He did Vote or Die. He actually did a collaboration with Pierre Moss. And they did a Exist to Resist line.
Did not see. No, I'm like, he's doing high end lines. I'm with Diddy, who's doing the tall tees, Vote or Die.
You're the working class Diddy right there. That's Sean Diddy.
Exactly. Those are the tall tees and the forces, Vote or Die.
Wait, what year was that? Was that when Obama was running?
I think that was Obama's first term.
Okay.
Yeah. We all remember those red, white, and blue Vote or Die with the matching forces. Yes, that's the campaign I was looking for. That's that energy.
It was different that time. It was a different time. I posted like I do not blame people who did not vote. Like I get the internal conflict because I had it too. Like it's literally a conflict. When it came to elections this year, I'm like, if you want to vote for like focus on like the local, state, whatever, but if you choose not to for your own peace of mind, like I get it. Like it was, I don't know. I don't recommend people who don't know.
I agree.
Because I just feel like I just didn't get enough. Even like researching all of the candidates this year, like no one said anything that like piqued my interest. It all said the same thing. COVID, clean air, housing and things like that. Y'all been talking about these same things for like 10 years and no one has done anything. And I'm just, I don't know. It was rough this year around. I do think in 4 years it might be better. And again, it's because like we're a little bit more conscious. So like midterms is an actual thing.
Yeah.
Getting more involved with like local organizations is becoming more of a thing, especially with like Black Lives Matter. I think people are becoming more involved with like investing and putting their money into. What is Kirk? What is
is dressed? He has on board shorts and he's putting on pants over his board shorts. Kirk, you're clearly in camera.
I'm walking around in boxers. It's like
they're not boxers. They're board shorts.
Amazing.
I promise he's dressed. Anyway, excuse my husband, y'all. I lost where we were at. I'm so sorry.
I mean,
no,
yeah.
I just think if we hit rock bottom, this is rock bottom. Like I really feel like we can only go up from here.
Totally.
Because I'm tired. Like,
I think we all are.
I think we're all tired. We're tired. Like we can't keep settling for the same shit, less than what we deserve.
Well, to Lindsay's point too, like there's so many fucking candidates this election, we just saw this week that have like gone against the incumbents and they're so progressive, right? Like, I mean, Ilhan's already there, like AOC, the squad or whatever, but so many young up and coming politicians that I don't know, like I'm personally pretty excited about, and they're all down ballot, they're not president or anything, but taking control of the Senate and the House. So I don't know. I'm just stoked. I'm stoked about, what the future holds. Obviously, like the country still sucks, and I think on both sides there's like a talk about like return to normalcy. Like for Trump it was make America great again. For Biden it's like let's go back to brunch. But there's no normal. Like what we had before.
Is that his slogan?
Sucked. No. But everyone's like, can't wait to go back to brunch. Once Biden gets in office. But I think there's no going back to normal because the normal fucking sucked. So
Yeah.
like, what can we do? You know,
I'll
like,
still go get punched.
well, yeah. I mean,
Like
I can't wait to run.
that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
People of color deserve to have some joy.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Our fried chicken and waffles, for sure.
Yeah. Ooh.
I had Waffle House. We were
Yeah,
just talking about that earlier.
Oh, wow.
I do, like, even from the conversation today, like,
Yeah.
with Webby, I'm excited about the world not going back to normal.
Mhm.
I'm excited about like the new normal of like what Jojo was saying, like being more involved locally and understanding what's actually happening in your own like neighborhood and actually contributing back to your own neighborhood. Because when we begin to contribute back to our own neighborhood and build self-sustaining ecosystems of like actually supporting each other, then there's more power there.
Yeah.
And then we can demand, like, we all, like, each micro group or each like person from a group has so much money that we bring in and then we spend on other things outside of our own communities.
Yeah.
How do we keep that within?
And I like hope that it doesn't die. Like I was on Postmates earlier and it still has like support Black owned businesses, restaurants and things like that. Like I don't think that it's just a fade. Like it's like a phase. Like it really is something that we need to continue to invest in.
Mhm.
We are like at the low totem pole. And I think that like we need to kind of continue to like lift people up and invest and donate, you know. There needs to be more resources. I think I mentioned it again on our last Brandbeats, but like for me to get involved with all of the propositions, like SD Melanin, who is this event hosting space, they had like sip and wine night and like they went over all the propositions and like what it meant to vote for each one of them. And I think that was very important, again, especially for the Black community, to understand like what you're investing your time and your energy and stuff. And I think those are things that should be at the top of the subject line instead of like, okay, which white savior are we going to put into the White House and like fix everything for us, when that we all should be conscious that that's not going to happen. Against Kanye in 2024.
He already said that he might run in 2024, and my eyes just got big.
I think Trump said the same thing. It's going to be another shit show.
Did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was just something that said he's like, I'm scared that he's not gonna like concede.
I mean, I actually just saw a commentator was saying today that there is nothing in the Constitution that says that you have to concede, that that's like a thing, but you will be promptly escorted out of the White House.
Yeah. I think Trump said,
please let that happen.
He said,
great. Because I mean, he's impeached.
Yeah.
He didn't care about that. So yeah, he's so great.
Yep. They said you
Oh,
do not have to concede, but he will be promptly escorted.
The weekend. Like take the weekend off with that. And getting
like snatch his wig off. Throw it out.
Oh my God. Yes.
Like, he actually gets evicted out. His suit just comes off.
Please like on his door.
Exactly. They put a pink slip on his door. But it's like, but you guys think about it. Think about what Inauguration Day can really look like. Like every 4 years, we have seen the sitting president and the first lady greet the president-elect on the steps, all that shit. Like we've seen that happen. We've never not seen that happen. Trump's gonna be in the bunker. Like he's gonna be like, nah, I'm not coming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think this time with COVID and everything, the world can't go back to normal, or like America can't go back to normal, because this is a completely different way of doing elections, and I feel like that's also going to continue from this point forward. Like we're going to have like alien ballots. I feel like all of these things are just indications that America is just going to be completely different.
Listen, Melania already got her bags packed. She
Oh
has
yeah,
them
there's a moving
shipped.
truck right there,
She
She
right?
got the
No.
divorce papers. Like, come
Yep.
on, I'm ready to wrap this up. I'm ready to go.
You had to go.
No, wasn't there
I'm
actually a
ready to
moving
go
truck in front of the
already.
White House? There was like some kind of like U-Haul truck.
The Penske? Yeah, I saw
Yeah, like
that
a
too. I
Penske
didn't know if
That
it
could
was.
also be, that could be like from whenever.
That's true.
Listen.
That'd still be fucking hilarious though.
Just like
Melania was like,
they photoshopped the Trump hats onto ice cube.
Oh, didn't you guys see that somebody photoshopped like a glitch in like one of the interactive maps and like Pornhub popped up? Yeah.
I saw that was trending. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
They photoshopped that in. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what Inauguration Day is going to look like, because I don't think that's going to be pretty at all. But I'm here for it. If we're going to see him dragged out kicking and screaming, I'm here for it.
That's what he said. He said he would have to be kicking and screaming for them to take
That's
him
what
out,
he
so.
said?
He said that word for word, I'm pretty sure. So it's gonna happen.
The
Gives this man a mic.
The ghetto.
When they over here erecting unscalable fences around the White House right now, like he's actually just trying to barricade himself in. Because of all this, they erected a unscalable fence around the White House. He's
Wait,
just
did
like,
they really?
no,
Yeah.
they did.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
What?
because they thought there were going to be like riots and civil war and all that stuff, so they erected that fence or that wall around the White House. That's one wall he got complete.
I was gonna say we finally built the wall. His dream came true. Oh my god, 4 years later.
Exactly.
He did it.
He got one wall that nobody can get over. And he got barricade himself in the White House.
Oh my god. I love that.
He was planning for this. Like we got a long 2 months. Inauguration Day is in January. We got a long 2 months.
It's gonna be a Zoom inauguration. That's what it's gonna be.
Oh, is it? Oh my God.
COVID's not going anywhere. So like end of the year.
No.
Watch this shit wrap up as soon as somebody gets into the White House. Y'all playing. Everybody is going to be released once they put somebody in the office. I'm over it.
Oh my God.
Or someone said there's like, oh, the past 3 days, COVID cases haven't gone up because everyone's fucking paying attention to the election. Nobody's talking about it though. Everyone's more so talking about the elections now.
Yeah.
What if Trump uses that? It's like, guys, the COVID case, we haven't even been talking about it for the last week.
He came out and said on November 4th, nobody's going to talk about COVID. COVID is going to disappear. He's like, COVID's not going to be a thing anymore, which, okay, yeah, no, we're not talking about it because we're still watching to see who's president. But guys, it's a real fact. Yesterday, we were at 121,000 new cases, 56,000 hospitalizations, 1,200 deaths. This is getting exponentially worse.
That's insane. Because it feels like it's been the same, or it feels like it's gotten like better, right? But
yeah, no, worse.
Because people are hanging out now.
Yeah.
The trend of caring is gone. At least in like San Diego, the trend of caring is.
No one gives a fuck.
We're in the purple tier.
Talking to some of our like New York coworkers, like they care. Like they're staying inside. They're like sticking to their shit. Also, it's getting cold, so it's a little bit easier. But it's
well, you guys, we're back in the purple tier, and they've come out and said that they will decide on Monday whether or not they're closing down indoor dining again, closing down gyms, nail salons. Like they're going to decide on Monday. Like San Diego fucked up, and we are about to lose all privileges.
Oh yeah, kids fucked up.
Can't wait.
Too much candy. It's all getting taken away.
Oh,
I mean, honestly, like walking around and like seeing and having eaten in some restaurants, it's people are still sitting in the same spaces. They just put some like little guards between them. It doesn't necessarily.
I just think we're nasty. Like, I don't necessarily agree that we have to close everything down. I just think people need to stop being nasty and start like washing their fucking hands and using hand sanitizer and actually washing down the table when people are done with it. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to stay locked up in the house for another year. Y'all need to figure out what the fuck y'all are doing with this COVID shit because all these other countries.
They need to do more social distancing in the actual spaces. Because right now it's like they just put everybody at the same table.
Yeah.
Like if you go to craft and commerce, like everything is like just normal and it's packed, like crazy packed. I think that's what's scary. And like when you're drinking, you don't give a fuck. And once you're like tipsy and you're in a space, people are like, I'll keep my distance. When you're tipsy and you're in a space, especially in a bar, like I feel like that the social distancing definitely goes away.
Yeah.
Hillcrest holds it down when it comes to social distancing. I'll tell you that. Y'all have your own little section that's boarded up. You can get drunk, but you got 2 hours and you gotta leave. Like, do that. Put like a time limit on like how long y'all can stay there. But again, like, figure it out. I think it's ridiculous. Like, I think it's ridiculous. Figure it out.
JoJo 2024, figure it out. Stop being nasty.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Period.
I'll get that on a hat.
Like, I have a friend in Dubai, and he said they already have what is that shit? Shots and stuff in Dubai. Like Dubai, they're thriving. Everyone's outside. Everything's back to normal.
Oh yeah.
They just get their shots and they get like their fingers pricked to see if they have COVID or not every 4 days.
Also, I feel like those
and then they live their normal fucking life.
Because it's like a singular group of people and like Dubai is smaller, but because they're a singular group of people, it's easier to just be like, hey, collectively we need to do this for a month. And then everybody does it for a month and it's like, oh, shit's gone.
That's what I'm saying though. If we could have just done that and shut down earlier and everybody sat down for a month and not try out here holding signs, my body, my choice with a mask on it, like maybe we wouldn't be in this conundrum right now.
We're so dumb. We're dumb as hell.
But here we are. Like we are the laughing stock.
You had like people not being able to afford like rent and all that stuff and whatever. And it's like, then you had the people going like, well, I can't take my kids to Legoland.
Like, I can't get my hair done. Like we're the laughing stock of the world. Like think about that, guys. We're the laughing stock of the world because we could not get our shit together.
Or we just
let
COVID take us.
herd immunity. Just fucking COVID take us. No, I want to live. I like my life.
On that note,
God,
should we call it there? I don't think we got any questions.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we can call it there.
Just let COVID take us. That's it.
COVID take us.
I think I'm definitely gonna make a shirt of what you said.
Don't be nasty. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Don't be nasty. Yeah.
And then let COVID take us. That's funny series. So good.
Oh God. Well, this conversation, I have to say, like, turned out to be a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. So I appreciate that. I hope that we provided some kind of like relief for other folks too who are going through it. I honestly believe like we can't predict the future, live in the now, and like now it just means like finding your own happiness and finding joy however you can. Don't let these motherfuckers ruin y'all. Like, it is what it is.
God. JoJo is dropping fucking gems today. Oh my God. So good.
Listen, let me find Kanye and talk to him real quick.
Ooh, you can get through to that man.
Someone said like, if Nevada voted for Kanye, just tell us. Like, I'm like, for real.
He actually got like what 60,000 votes or something.
You got
50,000?
Yeah, total.
What? You know what? I can't.
That's good for him. Then when he runs again next year, or it's 2024, he'll win.
What a mess.
We'll see.
This is a mess.
All right, y'all.
All right.
I ain't got to pee, so I'm just gonna wrap it up. I gotta hop to the couch.
Erwin?
Potato?
Is this a potato?
Where's he at?
It's too dark.
Oh, wait.
No, it's not. There's the potato. What is this?
What is going on here?
Anyway.
Everybody, I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Yes.
You
Have a very relaxing
too.
weekend. Take care. And
Bye.